everyone to the Game Plan series. I appreciate you for joining. We got a special guest, an extravagant guest. So we want you to take the opportunity to one, take notes, be ready to ask any questions by either raising your hand with the reaction button or posting a question in the chat. But we would like you to actually voice your question so that we have to have everybody interacting and also comply with the recording so that everybody can make the website as well. So today's special guest we have the one and only New York Giants defensive coach, Dr. Anthony Blevins. He's here to give you his game plan. So y'all, as you all know, game plan is just an opportunity for you to hear how people, professional and collegiate, have handled their abilities to juggle sports and academics. So, Dr. Blevins, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here and be a part of this event. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you guys thought of me and asked me to speak and be a part of it. So for that, I'm grateful, and so thank you. I'll just start off about giving you a little bit of my background so you guys know where I come from. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I've got two younger sisters. So, in my house, education was stressed, like growing up in the South, it was, I was born in 1976. So telling you my age, so you guys know everything about me, trying to be as transparent as possible. So I grew up in a time where it wasn't segregated, but it was segregated. We were coming off of that. Dr. King was killed or assassinated in 68. So just 8 years removed from his assassination, that's when I came along. So so there were a lot of things that precluded from my parents into me and my sisters. But one was education, because education was something that couldn't be taken from us. A lot of this stuff can be taken from us. Like I work with the New York Giants now. I'm a coach. That can be taken from me. I've been here 5 years. This is my third head coach in 5 years, which is almost unheard of. All right. So typically what happens is when a coach changes over or head coach gets fired, everybody else goes with him. Unfortunately, I've been able to hang on. All right. But, my love of sports started at an early age. All right. I grew up a Miami Dolphins fan and a LA Lakers fan. All right. No jokes about my Lakers. I'm hurting right now. My Lakers ain't doing well. I'm hurting. But those were my teams, and that's who I'm still a Laker fan to this day. Miami, not so much. The Giants pay the bills, so I'm a Giants fan, through and through right now. But for me, coming home on Sunday afternoon after church, like we got all the Miami games. So we got probably, if they play 16 games, we probably got 12 of them. But it was no better time for me. It was to come home, watch the Dolphins play, Dan Marino, Mark Duper, Mark Clayton. That was my squad. So that's why I fell in love with football. The Chicago Bears were around, and Walter Payton and Eric Dickerson, and that's what I played. I played running back. Growing up, I played running back. So those were the guys that I looked up to on the football field. But education, like you couldn't do sports in my house unless you had education. So as I got to high school, I played high school football, basketball, and ran track. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and I was pretty good. But football was my main thing. I love basketball. Had a great time playing basketball, but I was 5'11". Most basketball players at a minimum were 6'3". So, I focused all my talents on football and running track. So as I got to college, I got a scholarship to go to UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham. And so I played football there and also ran track. So I was recruited as a running back, played running back my freshman year, then got switched over to defensive back. So that's kind of my athletic story. But going into my senior year, for me, it was always about, like, I'd always dreamed about playing in the NFL and being this big superstar, this Hall of Fame running back or just player, period. And but going my senior year, but by my third game into my senior year, had the scouts calling and, talking and doing all that type of stuff. But we played a game, played at Arkansas State. And I got kicked in the game. I got kicked in my lower leg, and you know, it bruised up, but nothing major. You know, you just kind of, you know, how you're wired as an athlete is you kind of just continue to play. You play through the pain, you play through everything, and you just kind of keep going. You're just kind of this machine, if you will. So I remember going out that night after the game. We won the game. Remember going out, and we're in the club, and I remember just my leg is just throbbing. So as a friend, just take me home, whatever. So get up the next morning, go to the training room. They treat my leg. Oh, it's nothing. You know, it's like something's wrong with my leg. I'm telling you, I know my body. My body is hurting, it's aching, it's throbbing. You know, they didn't do an X-ray or anything like that. So long story short, we go out to practice on Tuesday. We were off on Sunday, Monday, or we came in, just met on Sunday, and then we were off on Monday. Then we get back on the practice field on Tuesday. Tuesday in practice, I broke my leg. All right, nobody touched me. I just went to plant to my left, and I tried to go right, and my leg snapped. And you know, it hit me. You know, it really hit me that I need a plan B. You know, or actually a plan A, to be honest with you. You know, I was distraught because all my dreams at that point came crashing down. I mean, just completely crushed me. You know, I'm 21 years old, maybe at the time, maybe 22. And everything that I dreamed of at that particular point, and you know, it was in my mind. It was done. Now that turned out not to be the case, but that's where my mind was. You know, my senior year, the scouts are calling. You know, they're interested in me. You know, I think I'm gonna have a shot to play professional and all of that. And long story short, it didn't happen. So. So I played a little bit, you know, played in the XFL when it was out the first time. I know it's coming back out again, but I played in the first time, played some arena ball, did some stuff to try to prolong my career as sports went on. But as it kept going, my thought process was, I need to get back into school. I need to get my master's, you know, and I'll be honest with you, that's all I really wanted. I never saw myself as having a PhD. You know, that was never my goal. At any given point, if you ever asked me that I would be Dr. Blevins, I would say, no way. Like, I don't like school that much, you know. But as it kept going, you know, I got out of plan. I played in the XFL, and again, I got hurt again. I tore my ACL this time, or I tore my ACL, MCL, and PCL all at the same time. And we were down in Orlando. We were in training camp, and I remember I got hurt played on a Friday night. Got hurt. They did the X-ray the next morning, and I remember the trainer, you know, they were waiting to get the MRI read, so they got it read that night, and he called me on the hotel phone. We were staying in a hotel for training camp, and he called me, and he was like, "Hey, I want to come down. Can you come down and, you know, I want to talk to you, or whatever." And I remember walking into the room. He closed the door, and all I heard was ACL. And the rest of it was like Charlie Brown's teacher. It was like wah 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 wah. I can't even tell you how the rest of the conversation went. The only thing I remember was it was like, you need to call your parents before they hear it on the news that you got hurt and you tore your ACL, and we're gonna get you a flight back to Birmingham over at Health South. Dr. Lee Mack, Dr. Andrews actually. He's gonna see you. We're gonna get you in tomorrow night, which was a Sunday, and we're gonna get you into surgery Monday morning. So I go into surgery Monday morning, do the surgery and all that type of stuff, and then you go on the rehab process. And I knew at that time, I knew it was done. I knew it was done. Football was over for me. I've got to figure out what I want to do the rest of my life. So during that time, I ended up moving to Atlanta, and I ended up getting a job at UPS, in the corporate office in UPS up on, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with Atlanta, but UPS is one of the corporate offices in like Sandy Springs up to 400. So I got a job there, worked there for like a year, and then I ended up like this ain't for me. I'm not a corporate America type of guy. So long story short, I met some guys. We were just out kind of hanging out, and had a friend, or actually a guy that coached me in college. And we started talking, and he was like, hey, you talked to this guy? I was like, no, I ain't talked to him in a while. Where is he? Some people said he's in Atlanta. Some people said he's in Alabama. Some people said he's still in Arkansas. So, I got his number, called him. He's like, hey, I'm over here in Atlanta. Hey, I'm looking for some coaches. You want to coach? I was like, nah, that life ain't for me. Staying up all night and all that type of stuff, it ain't for me. But long story short, he's like, man, come up here to the school. Let's have some lunch, and hang out and all that stuff, catch up a little bit. So I go, pick a day, go up there and hang out with him a little bit. And before you know it, like his kids are coming in for the afternoon workouts. So I was like, you know what? Like, I can help you out. You help me out a bunch. Until you hire your coaches, I'll kind of, help you out in the afternoons, So from 3 to 5 every day, Monday through Friday, I go up there, help him out or whatever. So I did it for like 2 weeks. I was like, you know what? I think I like this. So I ended up, passing the praxis, which was get your teacher's license. And I had 3 years to actually get a teacher's license. But to get into school, all you had to do was pass the praxis. So I passed that, and I go into teaching special education. And during that time, I realized, like, I don't really want to teach, but I like being around the kids. I like being around football. It gave me a new energy. So I ended up going to Mississippi State as a grad assistant. And at Mississippi State, I worked under Sylvester Croom. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but Sylvester Croom was the first African-American head coach in the Southeastern Football Conference. And I worked there for 3 years, and I learned a lot from him. And so part of my stipend and being able to work there and coach there was I had to go to school, which was fine. I wanted to get my master's. I really did want to get my master's, because I saw where my master's could propel me in the coaching profession, because that's what I wanted to do. And so I get there, and this one particular semester, and I don't remember, might have been year 2 or something like that. I'm taking this class, and it's basically it was kind of I won't say it was a pass-fail type of course, but anyway, it was like maybe 3. It was like 3 tests in the class. The first test came out. We took the first test right about the midterms, and I made an F on it. I mean, I just flat out flunked it, So one of the coaches called me over. He's like, "Hey, like, what's going on in this class?" Like, "Coach, we only had 1 test." He was like, "Well, the coach finds out about this, like he's gonna try to run y'all out of here, like you got to buckle down and study." He's on the players about education, going to class, being on time, all that type of stuff. And here you are as a coach, you feel. I was like, "Coach, don't worry about it." I was like, "Trust me, I got it, I got it, And I was like, "It's just 1 test, I didn't really study for it. I wasn't prepared for it, but we got 2 more tests. I'll be all right." And actually ended up coming out of the class with an A, So I ended up, basically getting my master's in instructional technology, actually fairly quickly, less than a year. I took a bunch of classes, all that type of stuff, and just kind of loaded up to kind of get going. So, I ended up getting my master's, and I had some job opportunities, but there wasn't the job opportunities that I really wanted. I felt like I could have got those jobs without a master's and all that. So I stayed there for a little bit, and to be honest with you, I had a decision to make. Was, did I want to continue on in that program, or do I want to get another master's? I wanted to get a master's in religion, and they had a really good religion program at the school at that time, but I thought about it. I was like, well, let me stay in this program. I really like it. It's okay. I've done well in it, and I like technology, and so that's where I kind of went. So I veered in that, and so after my second year there, I had job offers, and actually I accepted a job at North Carolina A&T. I accepted the job to be the receivers coach, but that job, I was worried about the money. It only paid like $26,000 at the time. So the job I had at UPS, guess how much it paid? It paid $26,000. So I knew how much it was. It's roughly about $400 or $416 a week and some change, So I mean, it's not a lot of money, and it's hard to live off of. So, I was talking to the head coach. I was like, and I really got to the point where I was a few classes out from finishing all my classwork for my doctorate, and going ABD. And I accepted the job on a Friday, and then over the weekend, I really thought about it. I was like, how much is this $26,000 going to help me? How much is this job at North Carolina A&T going to help me? And I thought about it as like, what, it would be really cool. At that point, I thought about it as like really cool to have my PhD and be able to coach football. I didn't know a lot. I didn't know any coaches that had a PhD at that point. And I still don't know a lot. But so I called him back on Monday, and I rescinded the offer. As coach, I appreciate it, but I think I need to stay where I'm at. And I ended up finishing my doctorate and all that type of stuff, or ended up finishing my classwork. So I finished my classwork, and I ended up taking a job at another school later on after that third season. But for me, it was like I had a plan, I had a vision of what it was supposed to look like, and that was the key for me, was having that vision. When I had that vision, I knew what steps I needed to take in order to get there. Like I traveled this long road, like going from New York to California. I got to have a roadmap. Well, that was part of my roadmap to get there. And so I spent all my time, like working, recruiting, all that type of stuff. So my PhD, or my dissertation at that point, kind of fell on the back burner. I was at Tennessee State. I was at Tennessee State for 3 years. I was at UAB for a year. And then I finally got to Arizona, and that was my first NFL job. I was at Arizona Cardinals, living out in Phoenix. And then when I got to the league, I was like, I almost kind of, I was at the point where it's like, I don't have time in college to do it. I know when I get to the league, I don't have time to finish my dissertation. But I was honestly, it was the direct opposite. I had more time, and I was more disciplined about my time, where I had better time management skills because I had more time. So I had to really manage my time, which was the perfect opportunity, the right timing for me to do that. So I go to Arizona, and then the off season, I spent all my off seasons like working on my dissertation, going to the library, reading, writing, just whatever I could do. I would have my daughter, I would put her to bed at like 8 o'clock. And then I would stay up till 3, 4, 5 in the morning sometimes, like just writing and reading and just doing all my research. And then we get back up at 7 and do it all over again. It was days like I would just work all night and wouldn't have any time to myself, but because everything was devoted to her and everything was devoted to my dissertation. So long story short, I got to the point where I finished my dissertation, and I finished it the last semester. I had 1 semester left on my classwork. Otherwise, all my work was null and void. And so, to me, it was like it doesn't matter like when I finished it, how I finished it, like I finished it. It doesn't say when I got my degree, it didn't say, well, you only had 1 semester left. It didn't say, well, it took you 8 years to do it. It didn't say it took you 8 years plus 2 extensions. It didn't say any of that. It just said Doctor of Philosophy, Dr. Anthony Blevins. That's what it said. So I completed that mission just by managing my time and being able to hone in on my resources and focus in and prioritize what was important to me. And it goes back to what my parents instilled in me when I was little. Like, you couldn't play sports unless you did your schoolwork. That was first and foremost. First thing you did when you came home in the afternoon, it was like you put the play clothes on and you go to the table and you do homework. And then if there's any time left over, you go outside and play at that point. So that's where education started for me. That's where I grew. That's how I am with my kids now. Is I'm a big believer in education, because that's something that can never, ever be taken away from you. And along the way, there's been plenty of setbacks. There's been plenty of heartaches. There's been, I'll tell you a story. So I'm coaching at this particular school, and I get an opportunity to do an internship with. I won't name the team. Doesn't matter. I won't name the team. but I get a chance to do an internship, you know, and you spend like a couple of weeks in the summer working with this NFL team. So you're doing everything that all the coaches are doing. You're in meetings, you're running meetings, you're coaching drills on the field, you're doing all of this, you're game planning, you're doing everything that they're doing. So, you know, I spent all that time, and then a couple of weeks, or not, sorry, I'm there for a couple of weeks, and then like it's time to go back. It's time for me to go start my own camp and coach my own players and go back to my school. So, you know, you run into what I call is the fluff, you know, where you know, you meet somebody, hey, stay in touch, hey, you know, let's you know, make sure we stay in touch, blah blah blah, all that type of stuff, you know. So there's one particular coach, and I still see him to this day, and I don't even know if he really remembers this, but so, you know, we're talking. It's like, you did a great job, man. Let's make sure we stay in touch. You know, let me help you. Whatever I can do to help you, let me know. All right, cool. So I go back to my school. I coach my season, and we don't talk, whatever. And I see him after the season at this event, or really at a couple of events, and we talk for about 10, 15 minutes each time. You know, hey, make sure you stay in touch. Call me. You know, blah blah blah. All right, next time I see him, same deal. We talk for about 10, 15 minutes. Hey, let's make sure we stay in touch now. Hey, call me now. Make sure, you know, whatever. So, you know, a couple of weeks pass, you know, maybe a month or so. So I decided to call him and, you know, stay in touch, right? So I call him and he doesn't answer. All right. No big deal. You know, I leave a message, whatever. You know, a couple of weeks pass by, no call back, no big deal. You know, we're all guilty of it. Life happens. You know, you get busy and you forget, and you just forget to pick up the phone and call somebody back. No big deal. So maybe a couple of months pass, you know, I call him back again, phone rings, and to my surprise, he actually answers the phone, you know, you know, it's like, hey, coach, this is Anthony Blevins. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. He's like, hey, I'm on the golf course. Can I call you back? All right, cool, no problem. All right. Again, no call back, you know. So we're getting ready to start our next season. I'm at a different school now, but we're getting ready to start the season. But I remember they ran this one particular defense when I was there in training camp, but I don't necessarily remember it, you know. So I'm trying to call them to get some feedback on it. How did you guys run it? How did you guys install it? And so I call him, and he answers the phone. He's like, hey, don't call me anymore. Click, hangs up the phone. And you can only imagine how that feels, you know, like you're embarrassed, you're angry, you're like, you know, like you feel like a fool, like, why did I waste my time calling this guy? Any of that type stuff. But you know, like it's just part of the journey. Those are the things that make the journey so special when you get there. So like, did it bother me at the time? Yeah. Now to me, it's just kind of like a funny story, you know, because I still see the guy, and we'll play against each other, and we'll talk and we'll visit and all that type of stuff. And he'll say the same thing. Hey, call me. Hey, make sure we stay in touch. You know, like, I ain't picked up the phone since, and I'm not gonna pick up the phone. You know, like, but I get it. Like, I've been there, I've seen it, and that's why I tell people all the time. Like, if you call me and I don't call you back, that means I forgot. Call me back. You're not bothering me. You know, like if you have my number, you have my email, you have it for a reason. Use it, because, you know, like that's what life's about, is being a resource to other people, is being motivating to other people, being inspiring to other people. So that's what I want my life's mission to be. I want to reach out and be able to touch people and be able to help them along their way, because I don't think you're ever too busy to help somebody along their journey, because we're all going in the same direction. We may not be going to the same destination, but we're all going to the same, on the same journey. We're all traveling the same road, and we're never too busy to pull over to the side of the road and help somebody out, you know, and drag them along with us. So that's kind of my deal. You know, kind of my story a little bit. You know, kind of in a brief version of it. But I definitely want everybody to understand that we're all going in the same direction. We're all trying to help people, or we should be trying to help people. So never get too busy where you can't help somebody out, because sometimes it might be you that needs the help. So, you know, so for me, you know, I guess getting ready to kind of close a little bit, but I want to read, this is kind of one of my favorite poems, and you know, I'll kind of date myself a little bit. The first time I heard this was from Coach Carter, I don't know if many of you, I'm sure most of you probably have seen the movie. Coach Carter is probably, I don't know, probably 20 years old right now, at this point, so I'm kind of dating myself a little bit. But there's a scene in the movie like Coach Carter's his coach, and he's demanding, he's tough, and he's on his players about academics. Like he's always on them about academics, basically no pass, no play. And at the beginning of the movie, he makes these guys sign a contract. Basically, they'll have a certain GPA, they'll do certain things in order to have the opportunity to play basketball. So the team falls below the team GPA, whatever the GPA was. They kind of fall below that GPA. So he has a lockout. We're not playing any games. We're not doing any basketball practice or anything like that until we get back up to our standard. So the parents are all upset, and they have a board meeting, and basically they vote to end the lockout so basketball can resume. So, Coach Carter, he goes back to the gym. He's getting ready to quit. And in the process, he's packing up his boxes or whatever. But his kids are in the gym. They're in the gymnasium. They're in their desk, and they got their teachers there. They got their tutors there. And one of the kids stands up and says, "Coach, they can end the lockout, but they can't make us play." That's the moment in the movie where, bam, we got it. We got it. We understand what you're trying to teach us. And this one kid that's in the movie, he's been troubled throughout the movie. He's been on the team, off the team, kind of back and forth. And he stands up and he reads this poem. And this is one of my favorite poems. And I'm gonna read it to you. It says, "Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. We are meant to shine as all children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give others the permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. And that, to me, that's what life's about. Don't shrink because of somebody else, because they're insecure around you. You bring them up with you. If they can't come with you, that means this journey's not for them. That means their destination is not the same as yours. And that's okay, that's fine. But for you to play down, that doesn't serve you. It does not serve the world. You have to be the beacon of light that shines bright amongst everybody. And that's what I want it to be. That's what I want the world to see in me. It's like, I'm not gonna shrink. If you want to come with me, you gotta grow. And that's what life's about. It's about growth. And so as I close, I want to just tell you, hey, be powerful, because that's what you are. Be enlightening, because that's what you are. Shine, because that's what you were meant to do. You were meant to shine like the sun. All right, that's my time, or that's me. I'm done.
Thank you. That was very inspiring. We want to open up the floor to anybody. Please come off camera. Please raise your hand, or just ask Dr. Blevins any questions right now for the Q&A segment. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I have a question. First of all, thanks so much for telling your story. My question is, so like when you're going through the period in the midst of your PhD where you were pursuing opportunities in coaching football, like how were you able to maintain your original, drive to continue education? Because I mean, sort of looking from the outside in, it seems as if, during that time that maybe, more lucrative opportunities in football probably were arising. And given, that responsibilities of adulting, like how were you able to still continue, your drive for a PhD?
Honestly, for me, it was the vision. It was the vision that I had. In my mind, I knew what I wanted it to look like. I knew I wanted to. This is something I wanted to achieve. And so for me, that was really it. Like it wasn't about the PhD, wasn't about the money. Football, yeah, football is what I wanted to do, and to some degree, or in a lot of degree, it was about the money because that's how I ate, that's how I took care of myself, how I took care of my family. But that's something that PhD was something I wanted, like that's something I always spoke to myself was like, you got to get it, you got to focus in. And is it tough? Yeah, it's tough. Like it's tough when you wake up at 5:30 every morning and you don't get home till 11 or 12. Like I'm not gonna lie to you and say it was easy, but I knew at some point I had to buckle down and just do it. And at times, even when I was coaching in college, there would be times where I have period of times to write, and I would take 3 weeks and I would write just for those 3 weeks, whatever time, whatever it was a week. We be on spring break. When the school was on spring break, we would get a break. So I would take that week and I would just work for a week just on my dissertation. And it's frustrating. It is completely frustrating because like I always compare my PhD or getting my PhD and writing my dissertation to like pledging a fraternity almost. Like it's almost like hazing. Like, okay, you turn something in, take this out, do this, do this, do this. All right, you do all that, then you turn it back in. Then, well, put this back in. I was like I just did that. So yeah, it is frustrating. But for me, it was just like I just knew that was something that I wanted. I knew it was gonna make my life better. I mean, I've had opportunities to teach certain classes at certain universities that hadn't really worked out just because of time. But that's something like when this football thing is done, that's something that I want to go into is being able to teach and educate. And so that was something that I really enjoyed and something I really wanted to have, and I don't know if that really helps you in the sense of how do you stay motivated, but part of being motivated is being around positive people too. It's people that are going to push you. If you're not around people that can push you and tell you the truth and tell you like, bro, you got to get on this thing. Like you can get this thing. Those are the people that you need to have in your life too. Is those positive people that are going to push you to being able to do it along with your intrinsic motivation as well.
I hope. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I wanted to extend it to anybody else. Anybody else have any questions? Please come off mute. Please raise your hand. If not, I will throw a question out there. I was curious to know, how did you handle the pressure of having a child and still trying to make the grades? I heard you writing your dissertation, I believe.
Yeah.
How difficult is it of managing, education and still being a parent at the time?
Oh, it's tough. Like it's extremely tough because when I was writing my dissertation, I think my daughter was maybe 3 or 4. So she, like during the daytime when she's up, she needs she needs all your attention, and she's gonna command all of your attention. So it was extremely tough, so how did I manage it? Be honest with you, just I had help. I had my mom and my dad and sisters and all that, but typically it was me and my daughter during the daytime. So I would just try to put her to bed early. But yeah, but long story short, it was tough. But just having a routine, having her on schedule, knowing what I had to do for her that was the only way to manage it. And I know people do it all the time. Single parents, all that, and I don't envy any of them because it is tough when it's just you.
So in that stage in your college educational pursuits, you said that you failed, and the coaches had called you out, said that they put standards on the players, and he's going to look at you. Were you shocked that those academic standards were set on the coaches as well?
Not really. I knew what the standards were, and I knew what coach's expectations were. You know, Coach Kroom. You know, just a little bit about him. You know, he grew up in the South as well. He grew up in a he was a preacher's kid. Grew up in a Baptist church. So education was important to him as well. You know, and so I knew that. I just honestly just failed a test, and you know, and I appreciate, you know, a coach pulling me to the side and saying, hey, you know, like, you got to come on, you know, like he expects these players to come on. You got to come on too, you know. So, and coach was one of the best people I've ever worked for, because he kept it so real, and everything he did, you know. He treated me well, was really, you know, you could always go talk to him about anything and everything. Never really judged, but what he expected was what he expected, you know, and what the standard was, everybody had to live up to the standard, whether it was a coach, whether it was a player, whether it was an administrator, whoever it was, they had to live up to the standard that he set for the program. So to answer your question, no, I wasn't shocked or surprised, you know.
Okay, so I have a follow up to that. Earlier you talked about being shocked that people give you the fluff talk.
Yeah.
How do you inspire the children listening, or the students listening now, that says, you know, I've tried to reach out to different people and, you know, they're not helping me. They said they were, so I feel a little discouraged, and let them put them in that space of fear that if this person who said they're going to help me is not going to help me, then nobody else is going to help me. How do you overcome that, or how do you encourage them to keep pushing forward?
You know, I think it's a kind of a simple answer to a little bit, but if you don't ask, you'll never get the help. So when you don't ask, they're already you're telling them no. Let them tell you no, and then you figure out who they are along the way, and along the journey you'll figure out who the real ones are and who are the people that are just saying it. You know, like I have a lot of people, you know, that have said that, and when you call them, guess what? They do answer the phone too. So until you pick up the phone and get some rejection, because rejection is a part of life. Like you're gonna get rejected, you're gonna feel dejected, you're gonna feel a whole ton of emotions, you know. But you keep moving on till you find the person that does answer the phone, till you find the person that does answer the email. Sometimes, you know, like there's an old saying, you know, sometimes, you know, like when you get into a situation, or let me back up. God closing the door is God's way of protecting you. So that's the way I look at it. And don't get discouraged. I mean, I've emailed a bunch of people, social media, whatever, you know, like, and as you keep emailing, you run across the right people. And that's really the way to look at it. If this person doesn't, when you knock on the door, this person doesn't answer the door, guess what? You move to the next one. You know, like, you know, something I didn't mention, I used to sell insurance. I sold insurance for like 6 weeks, you know. So we had to go out in the neighborhood and just knock on doors, basically. So you knock on this door, nobody answers. You knock on the next door, nobody answers. Eventually, somebody's going to be home, somebody's going to answer the door. And that's how you get a sale, you know. So just keep going, keep persevering, because perseverance is a part of life. So, but so is rejection. So, you know, you just keep pushing, keep going, and your blessing will come in your perseverance. So.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions? Go ahead, Andrew.
One more. Sort of going off of what you were just talking about. I mean, when those hard times did come, where, I mean, either you found yourself like in a slump from a rejection from a mentor that you thought would have helped really well, or I guess maybe dry spells with work. I mean, what were things that you yourself did? I mean, outside of sort of like maintaining a network of positive people,
Right.
to try and get yourself out of it.
Honestly, like let me just the last 2 years being here on this job has been really tough. You know, a lot from a lot of different things. We hadn't won. You know, I mean, won 10 games in 2 years. You know, it was a very difficult place to work at times, you know. The one thing that really, you know, and really kind of hate to, you know, really get spiritual, but, you know, just my spiritual walk kind of kept me going, you know. Being able to read, listen to positive music, gospel music, because like sometimes like you don't want to share everything that's going on. You know, it's not like everything that's going on is not meant for everybody to know. So you know, I internalize, and a lot of times I write. I write to get the negative emotions out. You know, a lot of times you don't want to talk. You know, so you don't want anybody giving you advice. Sometimes you just want to get it out. You want to be able to vent. So a lot of ways that I would vent was I would write. You know, I would write in a notebook, and then when I was done writing, I would take it out of the notebook and I throw it in the trash because I wanted the negative emotions out. I didn't want to go back and reread them and bring all that negative emotion back in. So that's to me. I'm a big writer, so that helps me get the negative emotions off my chest without necessarily being able to talk. You know, I'm married. You know, and I talk to my wife, but like she's got to deal with it too. You know, she's got things that she's dealing with, so I don't necessarily want to burden her with stuff. You know, just negative stuff. You know, because negative emotions can bring people down. Like she's feeling bad for me. Like he's at work. You know, I know he's miserable. Blah 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 blah. No, I just write it down, take it out of a notebook, tear it up, throw it in the trash, and just kind of keep moving. So that's something that I did. I don't know if that's something that can work for you, but it's really worked. It worked well for me, especially over the last 2 years. You know?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had a question. You know, nowadays we have all of this technology and different ways to reach people. What are some of the best ways that if some of the students here are interested in reaching out to, like, say, the Giants, or trying to see if they can get some type of mentorship, shadowing opportunity? What would be the best route that they can go with all of the technology that's available nowadays?
Honestly, I mean, I mean, there's so many mediums. I mean, you got Twitter, you got LinkedIn. I think honestly, like Twitter is really good to me. I think for direct connection, you know, because you know at New York Giants, whatever, blah blah blah. You know, hey, I'm such and such. Looks like somebody's gonna see it. You know. Now, whether they respond or not, I can't answer that. But I think that's the best way. I think letters are good. I mean, there's still some power in handwritten letters. You know, like like when I get a handwritten letter, it means something. And the reason it means something because somebody took time to actually write it out. You know, where it's probably easier, quicker to type it. You know, and you can get direct results probably right now. You know, but a handwritten letter is good. Email is good. I think Twitter is good. You know, any type of way that you can connect to people, I think is good. You know, and for me, it's persevere. Like just because you don't hear something now, send another letter, send another letter, send another email, you know, send another tweet. And eventually somebody's gonna like, let me call this kid, let me find out what's going on, you know, like, you know, and then that's really like I think this, to me, I think this generation misses that perseverance, that resilience that I think that my generation had. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there was a resilience and a perseverance that we had as kids, and whatever it was, we're gonna go find a way. You know, like just because you said no, like I'm gonna keep pushing. You know, maybe it's not you, maybe it's another team. Maybe, you know, like I'm gonna find a way. You know, like so for me, I think, you know, like I said, Twitter, the emails, the handwritten letters are all good, but persevere. If you don't get a call back, send another one. You know, wait a couple of days, send another one. Like, I mean, that's how I am when you know, I'm calling. I don't know. I'm waiting on a call back from the airlines. You know, like Something happens, I'm waiting on the call back from the airlines. I don't hear nothing. I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling again. Like, I ain't heard nothing. Y'all said y'all call me back in a day. Like, it's 2 days now. Like, I ain't heard nothing. So I'm gonna, make people give you an answer. Like, like when you're in sales, they say, don't let people tell you no. Like, that's the resilience that you have to have. Don't let people tell you no. Like, you want to come mentor? Well, like, whatever you got, I'll come up here at 7 o'clock at night. I'll come up here at 5 in the morning. Whatever it is you got, let me figure it out. All right. Let them put the option on the table and then just go for it. So that's how I see, like, I mean, just to answer your question, how to connect and I think for me personally, I like to see young kids that have some perseverance to them, that have some fight to them in the sense of, I'm just not going to give up because he told me no one time. Like, I think about Les Brown, who, the world-renowned speaker Les Brown. Like, he always wanted to be a disc jockey, and I remember him telling a story. Like, he went back to the same radio operator over and over and over again. It's like, didn't I tell you, like, yesterday I didn't have a job for you? So why do you think I got one for today? I think something may have changed. Somebody may have quit. Somebody may have called in. Come back the next day, same deal. Then finally gave him a job, like, got in the building, and then I guess the legend of Les Brown became Les Brown, So, but he has some perseverance to him, he has some fight to him, so that's what I'll say. Just keep fighting, keep working. Don't let no, like, if it takes 100 no's, like, it takes 100 no's, but all you need is one yes.
That's a great message, because I think sometimes the newer generation doesn't really take that effort forward. And I think it's because everything is so microwave. You got everything so easy that you don't understand how to actually send like a pen pal letter and wait for a response.
Correct.
You got a correct quick text message. You got quick microwavable meals and stuff like that. So I think everything comes so easy. So it's hard to make that connection. Also with the whole technology thing, like the interaction of how to create or spark an interesting conversation, because you're playing with friends all over the world on the internet. So it's not like so I think all those things factor in, but thank you for that. I'm gonna throw it out there one last time. If anybody have any questions at all, please come off mute, raise your hands. If not, it is approaching the 7 o'clock, and we will let Dr. Blevins get back to getting the Giants retooled for the next season. All right, so if that's it, thank you, Dr. Blevins. I appreciate everything. We're gonna try to edit this and get this on the website as soon as possible, and I will forward everyone the link that is on this call right now. So thank you for your time, much appreciated. I will keep in touch with you, and everybody, thank you for coming out to Gameplay. Have a wonderful night.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right, thank you.
All right.